Hello and welcome to English Lesson 14, the week of October 12th to 16th. This is the lesson for Monday and Tuesday. It's not a very long one. We have our rough draft due at the end of this week for essay number 1. The final draft will be due on the 30th, and our peer review will be due on the 24th next week. So we're going to kind of dive into that primarily with a little bit of informational work and quick talk about Chapter 5 of The Great Gatsby. All right, so assignments this week. All we have due for grade is essay number 1 rough draft that is due on Saturday. That is the 5 paragraphs of your essay, completely written. They do not need to be perfect. They just need to be done. And I also have an extra credit assignment for you over Chapter 5 in The Great Gatsby. If you'd like to get some credit without going backwards to stuff that we've done previously, if you do not want to do that, however, you will not lose points for avoiding it. I would like you to read Chapter 5 in The Great Gatsby regardless. It is both the YouTube link and the slides are in Google Classroom. All right, so let's look at our learning targets for this week. In literature, we're going to read Chapter 5 of The Great Gatsby, so that means we can understand and follow the plot and character development in a grade level literature text. For our informational lesson today, we're going to explore the film I Am Not Your Negro as a primary text. This means we can collect and reference first-hand accounts of historical events from less commonly referenced sources. There's no graded informational assignment this week. And for our writing learning target, we can write a complete rough draft to continue work on our first A2C essay. So this means we can complete the second step in the writing process for creating essays by expanding on your outline. And our miscellaneous target is still going back and completing any assignments that we've missed using either the YouTube walkthroughs that I've shared with you from these recordings or by logging in on Wednesdays during my office hours from 10 to 12 and getting some help. All right, real quick, the week structure, and this link that you see on all these slides, if you take a picture of it with your phone, takes you to the document that has recordings of every single one of my lessons so far this year, as well as all the readings we've done and all the explanations for the work that we've done this year. Cool. The week structure is like this. On Mondays and Tuesdays, we'll have a lesson like the one you're watching right now, and the assignment will be explained for the week. On Wednesdays, my office hours are from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and my club is from 1:30 to 2:20. And my club is the Future Educators Club. If you're interested in going into education after graduation, then that is a club for you. If you don't have another club, and we have our in lesson on Thursdays and Fridays, and that one will be a shorter lesson this week with a lot of time for us to work on our rough drafts in class. All right, let's do a moment of mindfulness. Slightly creepy mindfulness. It is October. It is quote unquote spooky season, Spooktober. Here's some spooky bridge in the middle of the woods. All right, so our writing lesson today is a quick overview of what I need by the end of the week for your rough drafts. You will need to complete a 5-paragraph rough draft that is due Saturday the 17th. And it's going to consist of an introduction paragraph, 3 supports, and a conclusion. So let's look a little bit more in detail of what that means. First, if you haven't done your outline, do that first. It will make your rough draft much easier to write. Plus, it is a graded assignment, and it will improve your grade. So if you haven't done your outline, go and do that now. Like pause this video and go and do that, and then come back and continue. But I would not do the rough draft without an outline because it'll be tougher to get to 5 paragraphs. All right, so now that you've completed your outline, here's how the paragraph structure works. So your first paragraph should include the thesis statement that you wrote for your outline. That's the statement that has your I believe statement plus 3 supports. This is also a really good place to put your anecdote or the story that you wrote for your outline. That's the 2 to 4 sentence story or explanation from your life that you did for the outline assignment. Your second paragraph should be a supporting paragraph, and you should use the first supporting statement from your thesis statement that you made in your outline. Your third paragraph is a supporting paragraph. You use the second supporting statement. And your fourth paragraph is a supporting paragraph. And you should use the third supporting statement from your outline. Your fifth paragraph is your conclusion. I recommend writing everything else first because once you've written your first 4 paragraphs, your conclusion sometimes flows very naturally. And if it's not flowing very naturally, then this is a good place to revisit the anecdote that you used in your introduction. And that's that. That's your 5-paragraph essay. That's the basic structure that you're going to be following. Now, to get to a full paragraph for each one of these statements, so if you're including your supporting statements as the backbone of these paragraphs, of these 3 paragraphs, you could do supporting statements, and then you could go into detail, and then you could maybe give another additional detail, and then you could make another claim or give another insight into an experience that you've had. And at that point, we're at 4 paragraphs, including your supporting, or four sentences, including your supporting paragraph. So your supporting statement. So you want to have at least 4 sentences per paragraph to have a solid and weighty essay. That's a good rule to live by. Now you can do more sentences per paragraph, and if you end up having bigger paragraphs, that's fine. All right. Your literature lesson for this week is The Great Gatsby Chapter 5, Guided Reading. There is an extra credit assignment in Google Classroom, but there is no graded assignment this week. You should be reading these chapters in The Great Gatsby. At the end of the book, we will do something with them. So this is not a graded assignment. So you can do this one or not do this assignment, but you do need to read the chapters. And again, the blue words and the discussion that goes along with them is aligned to the reading part of the ACT, and the red words are aligned to the English part of the ACT vocabulary building. There is only one graded assignment this week, though, and that is completing your rough draft. All right, so for your informational lesson, I'd like to introduce you to a documentary that that is really great documentary. It was written by James Baldwin, directed by this guy Raoul Peck, and narrated by Sam Jackson, who is such a good narrator for this. I'm gonna give you a short couple excerpts from the New York Times review of I'm Not Your Negro. This review came out in 2017. I think it's a really good documentary. It's on Amazon. It's only 90 minutes long, so it's actually a shorter documentary film, but it's really good. So these are excerpts from the New York Times review. Baldwin could not have known about Ferguson and Black Lives Matter, about the presidency of Barack Obama and the recrudescence, great word, of white nationalism in its wake, but in a sense he explained it all in advance. I Am Not Your Negro reproduces and redoubles this effect. It doesn't just make you aware of Baldwin or hold him up as a figure to be admired from a distance. You feel entirely in his presence, hanging on his every word, following the implications of his ideas as they travel from his experience to yours. At the end of the movie, you are convinced that you know him, and more important that he knows you. To read Baldwin is to be read by him, to feel the glow of his affection, the sting of his scorn, the weight of his disappointment, the gift of his trust. I Am Not Your Negro is a thrilling introduction to his work, a remedial course in American history, and an advanced seminar in racial politics, a concise, roughly 90-minute movie with the scope and impact of a 10-hour miniseries or a literary doorstop. It is not an easy or a consoling movie, but it is the opposite of bitter or despairing. I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive, Baldwin said. I'm forced to be an optimist. All right, so Baldwin knew Malcolm X and MLK, and he knew them both personally, and he spent a lot of time with both of them, like to the degree point where like he knew their families well, and like he mourned them both when they were both assassinated, and he outlived them both, and that's covered in the film, and it is a really fascinating dive through the civil rights era. I highly recommend it. especially if you've been enjoying the deep dive into Baldwin v. Buckley during this first 6 weeks. We're going to change gears a little bit going into the second 6 weeks from Baldwin and Buckley and move on to different informational texts. But I think that if you wanted a capstone piece and to kind of emulate what it'd be like to be in our classroom, we would almost certainly have taken a break to watch this film and had some pizza and just kind of hang out together at the end of the first 6 weeks as you guys completed any missing work, because that's kind of how I roll. So we would have done a work day, we would have watched this movie, and people would have been like, some people would have watched it, some people would have tried to play Fortnite in the back of the class on their phones. It's a really good film, and I wish that we could have been in person to view it together. Yeah, you should check it out. And here is the, let's see if this works. Here is the trailer. All right, well, I hope that recorded. I hope that worked. And I hope that you check out that film. It is a really, really great way to cap off the first 6 weeks, where we spent a lot of time looking at the writing of James Baldwin and looking at the people he debated and trying to, in a way, autopsy 2020 and look at the foundations of where we're at right now in America. All right. Thanks for coming along for this informational lesson. I know this was a short lesson. It's a short lesson because this week we're really going to be focusing on having time in class to help people with their rough drafts and having time to be in class as workshop space to make up work from the past. I have a lot of people right now who have a lot of work that they need to make up to have grades that they're happy with. So I want to leave this lesson short so we have plenty of time to help those folks out. Again, all the assignments on the left are assignments that were in the first 6 weeks. Those 6 weeks are over. We're moving into the second 6 weeks of the class. The first assignment for the second 6 weeks is this rough draft, and this extra credit can also go into there if you so choose to do it. Thank you so much for listening to this lesson. I know it was a short lesson, On Thursday and Friday, we'll have a little bit bigger one with some great examples of poetry from New York youth. I hope you all have a great afternoon and have a great first half of your week. Thanks for listening. Bye.